Welcome to the tokenmarket.net podcast. I am your host, Gavin Knight. Thank you for tuning in. Check out our site for digital asset research, a calendar of upcoming events, and many future upcoming releases. Our podcast features team members of projects in the cryptocurrency space to help shed light on their developments. Just because a project is on our podcast doesn't mean we recommend investment, so always research and engage wisely. So I'm here with Thomas Droxas, one of the co-founders of Edgeless, a casino on Ethereum with Zero Edge. And why don't you tell me a little bit about the project, how it got started, and why you decided to pursue this as a team?
Okay. So everything started 5 months ago when first Ethereum dApps started approaching were approaching the market. And then 5 months ago, a team they created a VDICE, and some around at the same time we launched an Ethereum slots. We just wanted to test the power of Ethereum network and how we just wanted to see whether these smart contracts can actually do really fascinating things, or in practical in real life example it would fail. And then we kind of launched the Ethereum slots, and we received really good results because the Ethereum slots, from technical and IT perspective, it was functioning product. And what's so special about that, because it was using smart contracts, and the slot machine was purely transparent, and that means even if we as Ethereum slot owners want to cheat, we cannot do that without being spotted, because all information about bets is uploaded to the blockchain, and it becomes publicly available. So if we try to change or rig the mechanism, then people would know. So and kind of solves the huge gambling problem, because right now the casino industry is really massive, and it's quite interesting problem that all casinos right now they have full power to cheat over the players, and actually there are a lot of casinos get caught, and industry does at this day industry doesn't really have a solution to cheating. So that's why it was quite impressive product for us. And then we thought, okay, so why not start implementing it and trying to scale it at a bigger level.
So if you have a 0% edge, how does the system become overall profitable?
So that's the second innovation which we want to bring to the casino, because actually already for a while a lot of people were talking about zero edge games, so which will make a Betfair condition, and then we thought, because of the blockchain we have relatively low operational costs, so we can reduce the house edge to extremes. And then the idea we got, maybe we can use the zero house edge for games which require skill and luck. So these games are like blackjack, lunar poker, and for example, these games are different to roulette and some other games, let's say dice, because in roulette you just spin the wheel, and then players know the outcome. And in blackjack, players need certain amount of skill. In lunar poker, also players need certain amount of skill. And eventually, in the long run, an average player does not play a perfect game, so they make mistakes, and these mistakes, kind of give a small mathematical edge to the casino. We decided to offer zero edge conditions for luck and skill games, and that's how casino would be profitable over the long run.
So what are the advantages and disadvantages of using Ethereum? I assume in terms of regulation, since it lives on the blockchain, you're able to operate without having central servers. But what other benefits and drawbacks do you see with Ethereum?
So the main benefits would be that definitely because of Ethereum and smart contracts, we can provide this full transparency. Otherwise, there would be no probably like it would be like really tough to do something similar on the blockchains. Um, yeah, also Ethereum is quite well, even if it's still in experimental stage, but Ethereum has like a really strong team, a lot of support, and a lot of people are following the Ethereum. Yeah, so we kind of also believe that even if it's in experimental stage, it has quite safe ground because it has like a lot of support and a lot of technical challenges might be solved. And our casino, if we are building the casino Ethereum, so we are going to be really dependent on the Ethereum Foundation and how they handle these Ethereum challenges. Yeah, so these would be well, also in comparison to other blockchains, Ethereum gas price, like yeah, it's smaller than Bitcoin, so we can make like a little bit cheaper transactions. However, bottlenecks are yeah, because Ethereum smart contracts, if they are programmed in a perfect way, so then there's like a low chance that someone is going to hack the smart contracts. But from the DAO example, we can see that human error happens in almost every contract. So there could be a risk that if you launch the smart contracts, someone can hack them. So that would be the bottleneck of at least what we can see right now.
Well, I think there's a growing industry of security analysts. What kind of steps are you going to take, and are you going to follow some of the more trusted versions of Ethereum contracts to avoid any issues?
Yeah, so let's say so right now the way we do right now we kind of take at least for our crowd sale we take Ethereum Foundation contracts which are officially published by them, and then we kind of trying to build on these contracts, and then when we'll need to build like a new contract for the casino, so right now there are already like a couple of casinos in the market like VDICE and or Ethereum slot, so we would take these gambling unit contracts, and then we'll try to build on top of these contracts, and definitely we would spend decent amount of budget for auditing the contracts and testing and making sure that the transparency mechanism is safe and protected from hackers.
So one big issue with Ethereum is there's a lot of projects that innovate and do new things, but the UI is lacking. Obviously, the wallet won't integrate all the features. Ethcore might be more willing to do that. So how will users be able to use this game? Will a smart contract be created? They send in a bit of Ethereum and it's executed, and then the Ethereum ideally comes out. We want winners. Um, but if you're playing a lot and you're not doing well, maybe it's not for you. But how does that process work? And ideally, do you have a front end for this?
Yeah. Yeah. So right now we probably would take the same mechanism which you're using for Ethereum slots. Yes. So right now we kind of suggest everyone to install a MetaMask plugin, and then people would just go in the gambling website. They would join, and then using MetaMask, they can simply buy Ethereum and send it to the smart contract.
Yeah, that's great. I actually know the creator of MetaMask, and he's a good guy. He just sort of started it himself. So it seems like a lot of companies are using that now. Um, so
Yeah, and I think for gambling. Okay. I'm sorry for
let's just
interrupting.
say a huge amount of players win. How does the house cover the winnings? Is there a point where you know it's difficult to pay out?
Yeah. Yeah. So in the first days of casino, we will limit amount of players, and we'll make limits of yeah, based on the current bankroll we have, and also limits will be based on current traffic we have. So we could avoid situations. Let's say the bankroll is 500,000, and then we have like a huge flow of players, and then that means because of law of large numbers they can easily win the bankroll. So yeah, like just to get like a little bit more technical in the gambling industry, there's like a formula which is called like Kelly criterion, and Kelly criterion is calculating your your like bankroll. Also, it's taking into consideration how large the bet is, what's the house edge, and then it suggests what what bet limits should be. Yeah, so based on this criteria, we'll develop the casino limits. So it's going to be like limits on bets, and also we will limit traffic. And if let's say the casino is full, and we have like at the current time a lot of money wagered at the table, so that means for a new person coming in on the website, we would just make a pop-up that the person cannot join the casino.
I think that's an interesting point. I took a class sort of with a trader. Through TradingView, you can get these indicators. Anyways, he took me all the way through Kelly Criterion, and for people listening, I works on both sides, the house and the player. You can Google Kelly Criterion. It will come up on Wikipedia, and it's a very efficient way. So I think it's cool that you guys are open to how you're sort of strategizing, and also it's very helpful for players. Unfortunately, it's hard to stick to, and that's where sort of an edge comes in. You bet a little bit, and then you want to double it, and you end up losing. So if you follow something like the Kelly criterion, um, you may still lose, but you won't lose your whole account. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
let's not focus on that. There's many gambling opportunities and even price speculation, but it is one of the oldest forms, Satoshi dice and things like this, in Bitcoin, and it actually I think helped Bitcoin grow. So bet responsibly, but understand that based on the technology, it's a very uh, good fit. But I wanted to ask, what was your experience in gambling? So you're shaping this company, and beyond the technology, what have you learned over time that has helped you, create the framework for this?
Yeah, so my story with gambling would be actually it's quite funny because my family kind of likes gambling. So I remember my mother brought me to the shop, and she purchased some tickets when I was 5, and then my like grandfather was teaching me how to play blackjack. So like at the early ages, well, gambling was not some kind of a taboo in my family. And I remember at when I was 18, I think it was in 2000, 9 or 10, the poker was really on the rise. And then I thought, like a lot of people are earning living playing poker professionally. And then I started like reading books, reading about Kelly criteria, reading other mathematical, models. Like there's like a famous independent chip model in the poker, among poker players, and then using these models you can apply the math and the skill playing against other players, and then in the long run you kind of make profits. So so like 5 years ago I was in this poker field playing as a professional on PokerStars. um, so definitely that kind of experience taught me a lot how math is applied in gambling industry, and also these models which we developed for Edgeless Casino actually is coming. Well, it's not coming from like my poker experience, but if I were not playing poker before, probably I would not have came up with these ideas right now.
Yeah, I visited Vegas for a Bitcoin conference, so it wasn't anything crazy. But when you go up to the slots, you pull the thing, and they don't really give you the odds, and it's centralized. And um, I think it's important to have random number generation. And so, how do you guys uh, seed the enough random numbers to provably give a result that shows it's decentralized, so it's a little bit different, but shows, hey, here's the input, here's the output, here's the hash, and you can prove that with math that the result is accurate.
Okay. Yeah, so that's quite technical question. So before answering it, I would say what we would do not do, because right now on Ethereum slots we are using, yeah, it's fully decentralized Ethereum slots. It's using
And you
Oraclize, and
you mean slot machines. So you already have slot machines. This is a good thing. So you already have a product that's running.
yeah, we already have like a Ether slots.win. So it's like a fully decentralized Ethereum slot machine running on Ethereum, and yeah, you kind of it has quite big house edge, but it's provably fair. And the way it works, it kind of sends a request to third-party service, which is known as Oraclize, and then Oraclize sends a request to a service like random.org, and then random.org generates a random number and then sends back to the blockchain. However, this method has a bottleneck that the casino is extremely slow. So, or like Ethereum slots are rolling for 2 minutes, and then we had to come up with something totally new. Yeah, and then we kind of checked what Bitcoin casinos are using. So the way Bitcoin casinos are doing, they are taking technically, two hashed seeds from a player and from casino, and then two seeds are mashed into like a formula, and then like random number comes out. Um, and the idea behind this, it's kind of if a casino would cheat or they would change the formula or something, they would still could not predict an outcome because a player puts his own input, and then and the casino cannot really know what input like player puts. However, in Bitcoin casinos, there's like a huge problem with orders, because player always provides his seed first. So that means, let's say, if like for example, if player provides the seed and that's like a number 5, so that means Bitcoin Casino already knows his seed, and the Bitcoin Casino can easily adjust the formula, adjust own seed. And some other casinos, the way they do that, they kind of generate like 1,000 seeds on their side, and they just select one seed which fits. So yeah, so we would take this mechanism and we would solve the fundamental problem the mechanism has. So we would all like the casino server would always provide the seed first, and only then player provides his seed, and then kind of together with the bet, and then smart contract takes these bets, sends it to the formula, then gets the number and sends back. So yeah, so uh, in this way, the casino would work way much faster than using Oraclize.
Yeah, and I know it kind of goes both ways. It's interesting that obviously, in order for players to continue to play, you need to have an accurate record of accounts and continue that. And I know I won't name names, but I know a site where they were issuing sort of weak seeds that were not randomized enough where the player could guess. And basically, someone came along and emptied out their stash, won thousands of Bitcoin. So it's important that both entities are, using enough random number generation. But I think, right, you can look at the contract and see what's going on there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and you mentioned before the call that you were interested in things like sports betting, which and let me say that I had my period early in Bitcoin where I thought it was fun, but I know a lot of people on Telegram and different places that are very much into sports betting. So is this something you're looking to pursue in the near term, and what other services might you add? Obviously, you want to get the proof of concept, the first version out. So, what other services are you thinking of adding?
Yeah. Yes. So before that, just to present a big picture. So we'll have like in the first games which we'll develop, they're going to be like zero edge games, and the purpose of these games is to attract a lot of gamblers because it has it's something like new. It's like a next generation gambling experience. So these games will attract a lot of gamblers, and then in addition to that, we'll build more traditional games, and traditional games are going to be like sports betting, and yeah, also we planned like to have like a micro limit dice because like a lot of people in blockchain community, they just love dice. Yeah, and the reason why we want to have a sports betting, because on edgeless games we like we expect to cover operational costs and marketing costs with Edgeless games. And with the sports betting, that would be the game where the casino will profit in the long run. So yeah, so that's kind of the main idea why we
So
have sports betting.
let's talk about the token. Obviously, uh, part of what's happening is coming up. You're going to do a sale for people to invest partially in the casino. So, what is the value of this token? How can I benefit by holding it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Mm,
So, well, sell me the token. So, pretend I'm the person buying. Sell me the token right now.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of first a token which is backed by a lottery game. Yeah, so this token will be like people will be able to use the token to participate in Edgeless lottery. Well, Edgeless Casino is going to be like will accept only Ethereum, but we'll have like a special lottery only for Edgeless tokens, just to bring some value back to Edgeless token holders. And the way lottery works, like 40% of casino profits are going to the like prize pool of the lottery, and then every month Edgeless tokens can be used, to participate in lottery. So you would simply, have the token, then you would go to the casino, you just bet the token for the lottery pool, and then you can claim your prize. Yeah, and technically, it will depend on the number of tokens you have. The more tokens you have, the larger price you get. And then in some sense you will get a certain share of profits of the casino.
And have you guys thought at all about Rootstock? Are you testing it?
Yeah. Rootstock is quite interesting. Actually, our CDO is right now like a beta tester for Rootstock, and and I think he's kind of delving in some stuff inside. So Rootstock, it has like a huge promise. It promises smart contracts for Bitcoin, which definitely would push the coin to the totally next level. So if that would work, so then and if we can combine Bitcoin as a currency and Ethereum smart contract as a system for transparency, so that probably would be like a killer product in the market. Yeah, so so we are right now we are not like connected to one system. So right now we can see that Ethereum so far has the best conditions for transparency casino. But if Rootstock will allow to do it even better, so then in the future we might even move to their concept.
And what about Ethereum gas price? How does that fit into updating the state of the contracts? So obviously, as you're betting, a small amount of Ethereum gas is required.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah, because in order to make sure that the casino is fully transparent, player will need to bet every time, and bet is not going to be like a fictional like in usually online casinos. They just take their money, people deposit, and they make fictional bets. So in our casino, it's going to be like a real bet, and every bet will cost a gas price. So how we are tackling this problem? Yeah, so first we'll have like a minimum bet. So the minimum bet is going to be like 1 Ethereum. So people will not be able to bet less. Otherwise, gas price would eat them. And another thing is, in early days of the casino, players will have to pay the gas price. However, in the long run, once the casino will scale, and then we'll have like a way much larger bankroll and like way much larger variety of games. So we have like a plans um, like a totally like a totally experience where people would not need to pay the gas price for zero edge games.
And it seems like one big thing is obviously with chain analysis and other things, um, it might be beneficial to have a decentralized betting platform where it stays within Ethereum and you're able to interact with it, but you don't have to use these centralized services. So, what do you think about like the regulation and legality of the platform and if that benefits players?
Yeah, it's quite quite tricky question. Yeah, so at that time, I know governments, actually government started to have like a really strong push on blockchains, and right now, like if you want to participate in exchange activities, you need to send your ID. So we kind of expect that governments will come to blockchain casinos too, and in upcoming 2 years, yeah, mm, we kind of have like a strong feeling that governments will ask that all casinos will identify the players, and the reason is that casinos could prevent kids from playing in their casinos. So that means if there will be like a fully decentralized casino, that means then kids would be able to play on fully decentralized casino. So yeah, so it's kind of it kind of gives like a plus from product development perspective because it's fully decentralized or from like a big picture. And if you look at society, so then it's not that good. It's not that like good. So we are not really like really super strong supporters of like fully decentralized casino where there's like no owner of the casino.
Right, right. Okay. Well, it's good that you have a plan and you're thinking about it. We'll have to see how it goes. I mean, and we'll have to see whether or not they can actually reach into that type of business model. Um, so as far as the ICO funds, what do you plan to use them for? And will you, on an ongoing basis, reinvest any profits that the casino makes?
Uh, yeah. So in upcoming 1 2 years, we expect to invest almost all profits casino makes back in the casino development and marketing. Yeah, so the funds, well, for first of all, we'll use the funds to legalize the casino and legalize the business unit, because yeah, it's quite it's not that easy to register a casino company, because like a lot of government they have regulations. Yeah, so first, like decent amount of funds will be used to deal with the legalities. Uh, then another huge part of the funds will be used to develop the smart contract. Then we dedicate 20% of funds to the bankroll of the casino, and it's going to be like before the launch, it's going to be stored in the cold storage. Uh, so casino, could handle like huge traffic of the players, and then definitely will invest some money in like marketing, so we can attract more players to the casino. However, in the casino industry, marketing is quite tricky thing because you cannot simply buy Facebook ads or Google ads. Like a lot of networks are banning casino promotion. Therefore, usually casinos need to pay extra, or they need to find like more creative ways how to attract people. So yeah, that would be like the main segments where the ICO budget will be used.
And what's your timeline? I guess you already have the slots ready. If I were to invest, how soon do you think I might see some of these future results happen?
Yeah. So right now our ICO is starting in 2 weeks. So it's in February 28th. Then we'll run ICO for 3 weeks. So yeah, so it's kind of finishing late March. And then after March, we are planning to launch like a first fast and fully decentralized uh, blackjack and lottery smart contracts. Yeah, so that's gonna be like late June.
Cool. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the team? You mentioned your CTO. What kind of experience do they have in developing Solidity-based projects? And how confident are you guys as a team to get everything done?
Yeah. So in our team we have like three developers. So there's like a CTO and two other developers. So yeah, so CTO has been CTO before the blockchain. Actually, right now he's also like a CTO in another like peer-to-peer lending platform. Yeah, then he mainly worked on this Ethereum slots, and then we have two other programmers, and they have developed. They also kind of helped us to develop the Ethereum slots. And also they actually did like two other Ethereum like gambling games. There was one like where you could bet on fishing, which was quite interesting concept, and also where you can bet like which picture is better. So yeah, so our development side it has pretty much well they all like already developing on Solidity like already for 1 year, and we already have like some tangible projects finished. Yeah, and then when it comes to gambling game concepts, yeah, so as I mentioned before, I used to be like a gambling professional. Yeah, so I'm covering this part, and also we have another person responsible for marketing, and yeah, and also he was like a startup developer and working for marketing in other startups before the blockchain.
And are you gonna, once you raise funds, are you looking to hire people? There might be some people listening that are into Ethereum. So are you looking to pick up an extra developer or somebody to help with the project? And what might you be looking for?
Yeah, yeah, so definitely we'll expand well like we'll expand our department because so far we are only like two people working in marketing. And yeah, and as I mentioned before, for casino marketing is like crucial. It's like either you have players or you don't have players, and and marketing is forbidden on a lot of platforms. So here we plan to have like a little more people, and from a development perspective, we also plan to hire like two more people so we could develop like some other games in parallel, and also we can have like one line of development focusing on game launches, like official game launches, and another line of development, creating like new concepts of games and then testing them out. Because if you want to compete with the with the large casino players, we want to have like really good and qualitative gambling products.
Right. So why don't you tell people how they can find out more? Maybe if you have a GitHub or just a Slack, different ways to connect, and um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
how to learn more about the project.
Yeah, actually we have yeah, we have like a Bitcoin, Twitter, Facebook, GitHub, Medium, Telegram, QQ, Slack. So right now I can really shoot all the links, but I would suggest people just go to edgeless.io, and then on the front page they would find like all social media icons, and then they can choose the best channel of communication, and then we would we could immediately talk about the project and further development.
Great. And I think before you mentioned that you're also going to reach out to more of the Chinese community. So obviously, Bitcoin in China is big and Ethereum is big. So edgeless.io, and you can find all about the project and read up on some of